Tyranny of the Hatt by Liam Campbell and Clara Lucas. Log 11. Rheneas Meetings. Stephen departed from the coaches of the Wild Nor'Wester. He inspected the engines at either end. They were sleek and modern, much more modern than the engine that used to pull the train. They were faster as well. They bore a yellow and dark blue livery, much more catching to the eyes. And yet he was unable to remove the big blue engine out of service. The two were on loan, thanks to Bart Simmons' silver tongue. They were merely just a test for the time being, but Stephen had bigger plans for them. "Thank you, Philippa," he chortled.
"Of course, sir. We're happy to do our best for you. When do you think we can see Gordon, sir?"
I'm sure you'll see him soon."
"Thank you, sir."
With a whistle from the guard, they raced away, Emma giving Stephen a Sodor smile. Stephen winced as he crossed the footbridge to the controller's office. Rebecca Dorothy Hatt, otherwise known as Miss Hatt to her engines, was the think controller of the Skarloey Railway. Her father before her, Peter Sam Hatt, was the think controller at one point as well. He was the brother of Sir Charles Hatt. She was finishing up a meeting when "Rebecca!" cheered Stephen as he burst through the door. He stumbled in his tracks. In the other chair in front of him sat none other than Bridget. An assistant ran to Stephen, trying to catch him.
"Sir, you can't!"
She stopped in her tracks. She quietly backed out of the room.
"I should get going,"
stammered Bridget, grabbing her belongings. She looked down, walking past Stephen. He was aghast as he watched his sister walk out. "What were you doing of her?" he growled as the door slammed closed. Rebecca sighed as she stood up.
"Walk with me, Stephen,"
she said, walking by him, putting on a coat and leaving the office. Stephen was dumbfounded. It had been a while since he had last talked to her, but he always remembered what she was like. She always got what she wanted, not because she was entitled, but because she knew how to be an adult before she was in her teens. She was sly and knew how to rule with a steel grip, all the while taking into consideration people's feelings. It was one of the reasons that she had fully earned Duncan's respect when none of the other predecessors could. Stephen had memories of himself, Bridget, and Rebecca going to ice cream shops as a kid, and Rebecca persuading the employees to get ice creams cheaper than it was. She had quickly graduated from university to become a woman of law. However, when the opportunity to run a railway arose from her father's retirement, she snatched it. Stephen looked around her office quickly. It was akin to Mr. Richards in size. The difference, however, was that it was much more grandiose and luxurious than Mr. Richards, and even himself's. It brought him back to his childhood, running around the office while his uncle and father talked things over. Him laughing and running to the little engines in the shed, and confused as to why the men seemed so nervous for Rheneas.
"Come along, we'll miss our train,"
cried Rebecca. Stephen jumped and followed suit. The two sat in a saloon coach reserved specifically for them. No Broomwell, none of Rebecca's assistants. No one. Just the two. The coach, the passengers in the other coaches, Rheneas at the front, and the beauty of nature passing by them. Rebecca leaned back and stuck her head out of an open window of the coach. She sighed as Stephen read over notes in his hand. "So, Rebecca,
you want to get me to join you and get diesels for all the railways and revolutionize everything."
"Yeah, I know," she scoffed. Stephen faltered. "Listen, whatever Bridget said, I'm in." Stephen stumbled in his seat. "Pardon?" he asked, regaining his stature.
"What, you wanted it recorded?"
No, I just thought it'd be a lot."
"I may not be someone easy to persuade, but that doesn't mean I don't keep an open mind. Bridget came here to warn me, but I don't care. I'm all for moving forward with things. Trust me, I won't with my ex."
She scoffed, then leaned out of the window again. Stephen scratched his neck, looked at the cards, then flew them on the floor. "So, about your current engines?"
"No."
"Pardon?"
"You're not touching any of my engines. That's the only thing. You can design and refer to any engines you like, but you're not replacing any of them.
she said, sitting back up.
Listen, I don't want anyone knowing right now, but I want to extend the railway. Me, Mr. Richards, and Mr. Hugh have been discussing extending the line up to Cordy Fell and down to Norby Harbor for some wharf. I need engines, not removing, replacing them. I won't and will never remove and harm my engines from their service.
Suddenly, a blanket of water poured over the train. It quickly subsided as Stephen peered through the window. They passed under the Grand Rheneas waterfall, or as Stephen liked to call it now, Rheneas's. Rheneas stopped at the station as Rebecca stood up and gestured for Stephen to follow. They left the platform and walked a bit before arriving at the edge of the waterfall. The mist from the water rose up to Stephen. He shivered and felt revolted by the touch.
I get it, sighed Rebecca. We've both had exes.
Fiancé.
Whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. Both of our previous partners have affected our lives. I feel like I can't trust anyone anymore. I know how you feel.
Stephen leaned forward on the fence that surrounded the area. He took his top hat off and brushed his palm through his hair. It's different.
Is it?
Yes. At least your ex is still alive. The roaring of the waterfall filled the air.
You can't trust it, sighed Rebecca.
Trust what?
The mist. Steam. It's tricky. Once you think you have a hold of it, it goes right between your fingers. They're rebellious. To keep it in, you have to hold it just right. Not too hard, it will seep through your fingers and escape. But not too lightly either, or else will drift away.
What are you getting at?
It's a metaphor, Stephen. You're putting them through torture! You remove Duck from his own branch line and replace him with a diesel that traumatized him. Then take Gordon off the express. You let your railway's oldest engine rot to the siding. Edward doesn't deserve that. He can be here at the works. I'm sure my engines would love his company. And not to mention the Farquhar branch line. If you keep straining at your grasp for control, then everything will escape from you.
I don't need someone else telling me how to run my business.
Ironic. You know, she wouldn't want this.
Shut up! The steam got to her, sighed Stephen, and I won't let it take away anyone else I love.
That was a 1 in a million chance. No one could have predicted that would have happened.
Exactly. They're unpredictable, as you said. You can never know what they may be up to. I mean, have you seen the accident record?
And luckily no one has ever been hurt by that here. Or at least in the last several decades.
He clasped his hands on his face.
Here.
Stephen removed his hands. Rebecca held up a business card up to him.
My therapist did wonders for me.